Hello YouTubers, I hope you are doing well today. Finally, we have some sunshine in sunny California, and I was going bonkers with that rain, man. It's just always cold, and I probably sound like a baby, but if you live in California, you're just used to the sunshine. So you're probably thinking, well then what are you doing indoors if it's so nice outside? Well, I figured I'd do everything that I need to do indoors today. That way I have the entire weekend, which is supposed to be nice outside, to myself. And I can spend it outdoors, go to the beach, just do some nice outdoorsy things. So today I have a good one for you. I'm going to share with you all of my favorite female artists on vinyl. And so if I miss any, I'm going to do another one because I also have a lot of my favorites on CD. So today we're just going to stick to the vinyl. We're going to do it in alphabetical order. And so let's get started. If you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. I would just greatly appreciate it. And leave some comments, because anybody who's a subscriber already can vouch for me that I really enjoy the dialogue that I have with the people that leave comments, and so I'm really good about just sharing with you whatever it is my experiences are, and taking part in what you have to say. So let's get into this. First up, Adele. And so, yeah, I just love Adele. Her music is really mellow. She has a little bit up-tempo stuff, but it's mainly mellow stuff. And it's just that stuff, that music that you can just enjoy a drink if you have somebody over, you're eating dinner. It's just that stuff that plays really nice, in the background. It just doesn't really interrupt the flow of the dinner conversation or anything like that. Just Adele is just, goes without saying, but she has a lot of great music out there, and I think she currently has a residency going in Vegas, but the tickets are like every other ticket out there nowadays, $1,000, $2,000. So, but I guess if you're willing to spend that, she'd be the one you'd spend it on. Next up, Anne Murray. I know I've mentioned her a couple times, but she's been around forever, and I've just listened to her music since I was a kid. This is the stuff that my mom listened to. Actually, you probably hear it when you're going into the stores if they're piping in music. She makes a lot of those playlists, but just a lot of great songs. You Needed Me, I Just Fall in Love Again, Snowbird, Danny's Song. Just a great album, and I highly recommend it for your collection if you don't have it. Next up, Pat Benatar. You know what? I had a cousin, and she's passed. Her name was Yolanda, and she was just in love with this gal, and she had her room decked out in Pat Benatar posters and pictures, and she was just always, I lived with them for a little bit, so she was always like singing these songs. It was always, her music was always on the radio and on cassette back in those days, I would say. But yeah, she just loved Pat Benatar, and I do too. And so I have her in my collection. A lot of great music. Promises in the Dark, Hell is for Children, Hit Me with Your Best Shot, Precious Time. I have a few of her albums in my collection, and I love all of them. Next up, Beyonce. And you know what? Let's give a shout out to Destiny's Child while we're at it. Because I'm not going to present one of those albums today, but I picked this album up at a thrift store. Not a thrift store. It's a store called TJ Maxx, and they had a stack of albums. And they had a stack of like Justin Timberlake's and some of hers. There was another artist, and they were going for like $15. I think a couple were 10. And so I pretty much bought all of Justin Timberlake's stuff, and this was the only Beyonce album. and I bought it because I like Beyonce. She has a great voice. She's a very talented artist. And I got this 2 record set in my collection now. Next up is one of my, she's definitely at the top of my list, Bobbie Gentry. And some of you may not know who she is. She started in like the late 60s and into the mid 70s, and then she retired. But just a lot of good music. Ode to Billy Joel, Son of a Preacher Man, Mississippi Delta, to name a few. Just some great music from this gal. I just love that raspiness in her voice. She does what she does as good as anybody, and I'm happy to have her in my list, or my collection. Next up, Carly Simon. I love her so much that I have 2 of these. Well, actually I have 2 of them, if I'm being honest, just because I lost track of what I have, and I bought 2 at different times. So I have doubles of her, and they're both like mint copies that I got really cheap. But yeah, she's just, you know, Mockingbird, The Right Thing to Do, You're So Vain, which we still don't know exactly who she wrote that song about. But, you know, the rumors are, I think it's Warren Beatty's at the top of that list. But anyhow, just an amazing singer. I love her in my collection. Next up, and you know what? It's actually a duo, right? The Carpenters, the brother and sister. But Karen Carpenter, let's be honest, she really made the Carpenters. Well, I can't take any credit away from Richard Carpenter either. He you know, wrote a lot of these songs, and it actually started out with just him, and then, you know, she ended up drumming, and then they moved her to the front. But anyhow, just, man, I just love Karen Carpenter's voice. Superstar, We've Only Just Begun, Rainy Days and Mondays, Ticket to Ride, which, you know, is a Beatles song. But, you know, John Lennon actually called her personally and told her what a great job she did with that song. So, you know what? If John Lennon gives her the stamp of approval, she has mine too. But no, seriously, it's really good. Good music, the Carpenters. Next up, Cyndi Lauper. And this is a pretty cool album. It's got like the color disc. But this gal can sing. I saw her share a stage with Patti LaBelle. And that's when I first realized how good she could sing. But man, like, she hung right there with Patti LaBelle, man. I was like, damn, I didn't realize she had those kind of pipes. But she does. And then she has a great catalog of music. And so, yeah, Cyndi Lauper. So before we get to the next one, like, you know what? Music is subject to your own personal taste, right? And so, you know, I've had people come over and tell me like, man, Rudy, your collection's all over the place. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's the soundtrack of my life. And I've been on this planet, you know, for quite a few years. And so you just pick up different tastes over the years. You know, I'll be the first to tell you that when I was younger, I was like that rock and roll guy. And you know, you kind of deny that you like the other stuff. Like, that's what a lot of people did in the late 70s with disco. Like, you know, everybody turned their back on disco and you know, they would just listen to it secretly. But you know what? I'm here to tell you, whatever you like, don't apologize for it. And I don't care what it is. If you like it, you buy it. It's your money. You know, you enjoy it. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that. But make your collection your own. Okay, next up, Roberta Flack. First time ever I saw your face, Killing Me Softly. This album is awesome, and I just recently picked this one up. I have other, you know, of all these artists, a lot of them I have multiple albums, but I'm just sharing one to represent the artist. So, but yeah, she's just awesome. And on this album, I just totally dig that cover, man. It's just awesome. And you know what? I grew up in the '70s, and so yeah, I knew a lot of people with those big afros. So, but the picture itself is just cool. So anyhow, next up, here's another one where you could say, well, it's not technically just a woman, but it's Gladys Knight and the Pips. And I just love this album here. I was introduced to these guys through my mom. She had this album, and it was just such a good album. I dig the cover where they're all holding the gold picture frames, and there they are on the back inside the picture frame. But yeah, this has, you know, hits like Midnight Train to Georgia, Got to Use My Imagination, Once in a Lifetime, and Storms of Troubled Times. But Gladys Knight, and of course she's had a long career after the Pips, but yeah, I just love Gladys Knight. Next up, Whitney Houston. You know, what can I say about this gal? And check it out. You can see the tag still on there. I got that for $8. And obviously this was a time ago. Now vinyl is priceless to everybody. But lucky for me, I've been collecting vinyl forever, so I was able to get in on some of those ground floor prices. But Whitney Houston, and I'm not even going to tell you her hits because you guys know them all. And you know, she took a #1 hit from Dolly Parton, "I Will Always Love You," right? And that was a song that Elvis wanted. He wanted to do that song, but he wanted to buy the rights to it, and Dolly Parton, you know, being the savvy businesswoman, said no thank you, and good thing she didn't. But Whitney Houston took that song that was already a #1, and she made it like a mega #1, if there was such a thing. And so she's just got a great voice. I just watched that movie, I Want to Dance with Somebody, man, and it was a good movie, but it was heartbreaking because honestly, this gal should still be here with us today. And anyhow, Whitney Houston. Next up, Janet Jackson. And this was a 99-cent buy for me. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about her? I mean, I started watching her when she was on Good Times. And so when Winona adopted her. But yeah, she wanted to have a great career, right? And she's still having a great career in spite of her being in the shadow of Michael Jackson. That, to me, that's what's most impressive. Like, there was the Jackson 5, then Michael Jackson was just huge, and then she was able to come right up there and just have a huge career herself. So kudos to Janet Jackson. Love having her in my collection. Here's another gal that I really, really liked. And I still like her, but she's no longer with us as of recent. Olivia Newton-John, her greatest hits. And so, again, man, I've been listening to her since, man, early on. And this album here is the greatest hits, and it just has all of her classic stuff. And happy to have her in my collection. Here's another one that's just an amazing artist. And you know what? I am so surprised that a lot of gals don't know who she is. Younger gals. Especially because of her song, which is kind of like the anthem for women, right? I Am Woman. So anyhow, it's just kind of surprising to me. But she's had such a great career. And you want to know something? As a kid, my mom, she had us young, so we lived out in a city called Fontana, which there was nothing out there. And so my aunt got her a job, and she moved out to LA to get a job to better herself. And so we lived out in Fontana, but whenever I would hear like female artists, it would always remind me of my mom. It was kind of like that connection. And she liked a lot of these artists too. But Helen Reddy, she's no longer with us. And just, this album is awesome. So if you only have one, just buy this Greatest Hits, and that should do it for you. Here's another gal. And she's no longer performing, but man, she had a great career. And from the Stone Ponies all the way up to just her solo career. And man, I just love Linda Ronstadt. It's So Easy. Living in the USA, that was a good album, you know, with her standing there with the roller skates on and the little shorts. But yeah, she just has an amazing voice, and there's just nothing better to me. Well, it's up there, let's put it that way. The female artists that just have those beautiful voices, man. I just love listening to them. So, Linda Ronstadt. Here's another one. And we got to give a shout out to the Supremes, but we got Diana Ross here. And this is the Greatest Hits. I have other albums besides some of these artists' Greatest Hits. But this is my philosophy. If I do not once you start getting lots of albums, like I'm pushing 1,000, I would say. And it's like, man, like you got to do something to keep it under control, because a lot of these artists, if I bought all their albums, man, it would easily be closer to 10,000. So, you know what, I try to, you know, tone it down, because let's be honest, once you get into 1,000 albums, so you have 1,000 albums and 1,000 CDs, you'd have to listen to 3 albums and 3 CDs every day to get use out of your record collection every year. So that's why I kind of do it that way, because I don't like having stuff just to have it. I'm not a collector. I buy music for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is the music. You know, there's a lot of guys out there, you know, on some of them have channels too that are really good, by the way, and I watch them. But they're into, you know, they'll have like 3 versions of one album, because one is like a Japanese release or it's an original pressing. You know, to me, if I'm going to buy like a Pink Floyd album or a Scorpions album, or even like these guys, Diana Ross, it's going to be for one reason and one reason only: the music. And if I happen to come across like one of those types of records, it's a bonus, but my first priority is always just what's on the record. So anyhow, Diana Ross, I don't have to tell you guys, you know, the big string of hits she's had and just the great career she's had from, you know, starting out at Motown. Happy to have her in the collection. Next up, the best of Sade, man. Wow, this gal can sing. Your Love is King. It's a great song. Hang On to Your Love, Smooth Operator. Yeah, she's just amazing. I wish she would start touring again, or, you know, put out some new stuff. I don't think she has, but yeah, she's just something. And just a beautiful lady too. So anyhow, Sade. Next up, here is another one that I like so much that I bought twice. And this one is from Tower Records. Anybody from the States knows about Tower Records. And there used to be a big one in LA, and the likes of like Elton John, a lot of those guys, after they'd visit like the clubs on the Strip, they would go to the Tower Records. And so, anyhow, this album is from a Tower Records. It may be that one, who knows? Anyhow, Donna Summer. And this just has all her good stuff on the radio. Love to Love You, Baby. I have that one in the 12-inch single, and that one's pretty cool. I Feel Love, Last Dance, MacArthur Park, Hot Stuff, Bad Girls. Just a ton of great music on this album. And this one, it came with the poster. Well, both of my copies have the posters, so anyhow, let's give you a full shot of her. The Disco Queen, Donna Summer. Okay, next up. This gal, man, I don't know. I don't think Mary Wells gets enough credit, to be honest. Yeah, this gal could just sing, and I mean, look at all these hits there. Two Lovers, What's Easy for Two is Hard for One, The One Who Really Loves You, Bye Bye Baby, You Beat Me to the Punch, You Lost the Sweetest Boy, My Guy, which is probably her biggest hit. Anyhow, Mary Wells, probably one of the greatest things to come out of Motown. Next up, this one is a tragedy because this gal was so talented. Man, I wish she would have got her life in order and just surrounded herself by some people that genuinely cared about her for other than her fame and her fortune. Amy Winehouse, man. And I have a few of her records, CDs too, but this is probably the album that she's known best for. And it's kind of crazy. I was in Paris. That's how I first came across Amy Winehouse, and fell asleep. I was in this little hotel room, and in the middle of the night I woke up because the TV was on, and she was on, and she was doing that song, You Know I'm No Good. And I was like, wow, that is something there. Anyhow, Amy Winehouse, big fan. I wish she was here giving us more hits. Next up, Norah Jones live. And here's another gal with just a great jazz, smooth jazz feel. And yeah, this is a live album, and I just, I just enjoy listening to her throughout the day. It's just one of those mellow albums that you can just have playing in the background and just enjoy it, and it's not overpowering like maybe a rock record or something like that. Last but not least, Madonna. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I really enjoyed Madonna through the 80s, and that's it. I mean, she's just kind of, I don't know, she's just a little bit too out there for my taste, but she did some great stuff. I probably started checking out from her when she started doing the Truth or Dare book, and I was like, okay, this, but her first album with Physical Attraction and Borderline on it, great album, and Like a Virgin, another great album, and so there you have it, guys. And if I missed stuff, I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but if there's stuff that's not on here, I'm going to do another video because I have a lot of my favorites on CD as well. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, take care and God bless you.